Hey guys, Sean here, doing things. I am going to be starting up some bone broth. When I make my bone broth, I also actually save all the bones as well and make bone meal from that. If you've seen some of my recent plant videos, I've talked about some of the homemade bone meal and stuff in there, so I'm gonna bring you guys along for that process as well. I save all my bones from all the food, all the chicken, everything, to make that bone meal and my bone broth, so let me show you. All right, so I got, like I said, a bunch of chicken bones. I got probably some lamb chop bones, all kinds of different stuff. I got Onyx here, who's always excited when I make this stuff. Look at him, he's sitting down. He's like, oh, Daddy, time to eat. He always ends up getting all the stuff off the bones as well. Once I boil it down, he gets all the cartilage and all the meat and all the extra stuff that comes off once I clean it to actually make the bone meal. All right, so I got all the meat in here. Again, a bunch of frozen bones, spitting water everywhere now too. Gonna just get this on probably low, medium, just to get it to warm up. So that way all the bones will break apart, easier to sit on the bottom. Make sure it's covered in water, and I'm gonna let it sit on high for a handful of hours, really. I'll add a little bit of Celtic salt and stuff to it, help break it down a little bit too. But I'll show you guys what that looks like in a little bit. All right, guys, so this is about 2 hours or so of it sitting here. You can see obviously now it's starting to separate a little more from the giant ball of frozen bones. And then a lot of the meat is gonna start to separate, as I mentioned before. All the meat and the cartilage and all that stuff goes to the pup. He loves it. But so I'll keep this on probably a handful more hours. Let it really start to break down and do its thing. And then I'll go in and I'll show you the next steps once we get there. All right, guys, so it's been another 3 hours or so since last time I showed you guys. It's been 5 hours since I started. You can see it's certainly breaking down a lot more. The broth is starting to really form. Onyx is going to love all the extra stuff. And then this is just the Celtic salt that I was talking about. Adds to the flavor of the broth, but will also help kind of break everything down as well. It shouldn't be too much longer. The longer I let it sit, actually the more the bones will break down and stuff and start to break down too. And the easier it will separate. But I've had this on high now for about 5 hours. I'll show you guys what it looks like in a little bit. Hey guys, it's about 9 hours after the initial start. It's been probably another 4 hours or so since. But you can see it's really starting to break down. Some of these bones are really starting to be really bare, which is good. I add a little bit of that Celtic salt, but I'm gonna let this sit for another little while just so it keeps separating out, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, hopping in again. Wanted to do another quick little showing, I guess. It's 10 o'clock at night, so this has been sitting in here now about 12 hours. 11 or 12 hours. Sitting on high. You can certainly see all the bones are separating almost completely. That's what we want. What I'm gonna do, just because it is getting late, I'm gonna set this up, leave it on keep warm until the morning, see where it's at, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, back again. It's been a little over a day of it just kind of sitting either on low, high, or keep warm overnight for most of the time. What I'm gonna do now is come in, start separating everything out. I'm gonna separate all the bones, the broth, and the meat, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I got the bones and meat separated out. Just dumped it all through a strainer here so you can see that. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll take that broth, end up putting it into a mason jar, and filter it a little bit more with a cheesecloth. But I'll show you what that looks like when I get there. I'm gonna let this cool off a smidge, and then I'll separate the bones and the meat. All right, guys, so I ended up separating everything out. I get the bone broth over here. It's been sitting a little while. That's why it's starting to get all the fat and all the film on top. Separated out the meat and then the bones separately. So the meat, as I said, will go to the pup. Not obviously all at once. He'll have a little bit. These bones here too, I wanted to show you, just so you don't have to be super worried about it. Because they boil for so long, they become so soft and literally just break and fall apart. And they just turn into pretty much a paste for how long they sat there. So I'll end up having a little bit kind of mixed into the food. If they're smaller bits, I'll actually break them down and just add them right into the meat, just because they are so soft. You can easily chomp them down and break them down and digest them with no issues. But I'll show you next the bone meal side of it. All right, guys, so I moved the bones into the air fryer. I have a dehydrate mode on here, so I'm gonna set it to probably do 4 hours at 200, and it's gonna pull all the moisture and everything out of it, which is what you want when you're doing the bone meal side. That way it'll grind down into a fine powder. Give some to the pup. All right, so we get the bones. These are all done. Now all we got to do is throw them into a blender or food processor of some sort to grind them down into a powder. All right, so this is the best that really my blender and processor will do. What you can do with any of the big pieces, obviously, you can filter those out, or you can just kind of put them in some of your garden beds outside. The powder and such is great for any indoor plants and stuff like that as well. Hey all, I appreciate you checking out the video. If you like to see stuff like this, some of the stuff I do for sustainability and not wasting anything that I can, please like and comment, subscribe, check it out, and I'll see you guys next time when Sean does things.